here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout.
Look like you're daydreaming, Logan. Just dazing off into the.
I'll just be honest. Yeah, no, I'm not daydreaming about championship saddles. I'm like
Ponchos.
wishing my way into July already. The next like
Don't do
guys-
that.
you guys
Don't
saw
do
that coach, dude. Like starting at the end of May, all through June.
Oh,
I sent you guys the schedule. I'm
I
not
would wanna fast forward,
exaggerating.
too.
It is like
It's
like 4 games a week between Conley's on one team and Cannon and Callan are on another team.
So they're playing
and
baseball,
they never
t-ball.
play at this. It's like it's coach pitch.
Oh,
So,
cool.
but like baseball, and Conley's on they didn't have enough girls to have their team, so she's on like a co-ed team. It's just her and one other girl that's on the team. But they have like, we legitimate have like some weeks we go 4 days in a row to a game at 6 or 8 p.m. and they're never at this, like they're never playing the same time. Like Conley, they're never playing the same location. So it's never like the boys' game at 6 and Conley's game at 8. It's like I have to take Conley over here to this place for a 6 o'clock game. Lacey will have to take the boys over here for an 8 o'clock game. Like, and we're legitimately going to be doing that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I think one week there's like 4, starting at the end of May, all the way through June to July 4th. It is insane. I'm honestly, Lacey and I were talking about it, and it was like, if we would have known that this is what the schedule looked like, we definitely would not have signed up. We wouldn't have opted for this, because there's other leagues. Like I think Marion, the big town just south of us, they have one, and at the park there has like 5 ball fields.
That's how
and so
ours
all
is.
the games go on at the same time.
Yeah.
So like Conley's team will be playing on this ball field, like you just have a big couple
our
next
league's hosted by Parks and Rec, and so like we have like a ball complex, and so like there's like different size fields and stuff, but there's like I think 4 fields on the one, and then like not even a quarter mile down the road is the rest of it, and it's got like 6 fields, and so like with the littles, they'll play 3 games on the one big field.
Yeah.
And,
that's cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they'll just like they'll just take extra bases, and like you play your game out in right field, you play your game out in left field. So like we're all always in the same spot. But yeah, man, I do not envy your schedule. That's it was like 26 games in 6 weeks or something.
Yep.
Like that.
Yep, it's insanity. It is absolute insanity. I just am having a hard time believing it, really. Like, and then you throw in there's in June I'm gone for a week, in which Lacey's gonna have to rely on Grandma and Papa.
Okay.
And I mean I'm gone for
we got
the
some stuff coming
Battleborn
up, bro. I didn't even think about that.
we got some stuff that I'm gonna be gone for, and so then she's gonna have to, and so then when I'm home, it's just anyway, it's good. I'm just having a hard time adapting to the schedule. All of a sudden, like Junior Rodeo looks fantastic.
Yeah,
everybody's like, "Oh, Junior Rodeo is so expensive." Well,
at
one
least they're all
weekend
the
a
same
month, we go
place.
out there for 2 days, and we just go suck it up for a full 2 days. It's like 4 times a week we spend getting home at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Anyway,
Do they have
I'm
practice or
complaining.
just games?
Yeah, they're practicing right now, which is also the most comical thing you've ever seen.
Dude,
pretty much.
It's so funny. I love watching it. Like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, like reels will pop up of just little kids playing t-ball, and it is the absolute greatest thing ever to watch. If you're having a bad day, go watch that. You will not be upset about anything. It's just like instant happiness.
Cannon's team is like, so Callan's he's about to be 4 this fall, so he's 3, and then Cannon just turned 5, so it's a pretty wide range of kids on this team as far as ages go, right? Cannon, all about it. this dude, he's like squatted down when he's fielding. He's like waiting. There's like a 1% chance the ball's coming to him, but he's ready. Callan is like, he's like drawing stick figures with his glove in the dirt, you know, like he just goes wherever his friend goes. They just stand there together and they like slap each other with their gloves and they're like talking. And then the other day, Callan's got his back turned to the batter. The batter hits the ball. It literally, he doesn't even turn around. It goes right between his legs and just keeps rolling. He doesn't even move. He's like,
Yeah, that's
somebody else will get it. Like,
that's
I'm
been
like,
Charlie too.
yeah. Okay, buddy. You got to pay attention, big dog. So anyway,
shit, he's only 3 though.
it's
Charlie, last night
uh,
last night was Charlie's last game, and she's like running around the bases. She's on second base, and me and Heather are standing against the fence, and she just decides to leave the base and just comes and hangs out with us. And so I had to walk her back over to the field. And I was like,
That's
okay,
funny.
He's like, I'm over this, Dad.
This isn't how
What are
this
you guys
works.
doing over here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That
That's-
is the huge difference between 3 years old and 5 years old. And my niece and nephew are that
Mhm.
age too. Nephew just turned 6, so like roughly same age, but like attention spans for both of them are very, very different. Very different.
Mhm.
But that's cool that that Cannon's so into it, and he's liking that. He seems like a little athlete.
He loves it. Yeah, he wants to play. Of course, because I do too much. I mowed a little field.
bet
I
you
say a
built
little
a
field.
field.
It's like a regulation. It's a regulation little league ball field in our
Of
backyard.
course it is.
I
Why
like
don't
use
you
a
guys have
string line.
practice
I like
there,
use
bro?
a string line.
That's what I would do.
We
Be like,
totally
"Hey,
could.
Yeah,
screw
just
that
invite the
ballpark.
team
Come
out.
over here."
Yeah, we totally could. But I used a couple panels and some chicken wire, so there's a little backstop behind there. And then I didn't have any bases, and I'm not going to spend, but I had plywood, and I just cut some squares and spray painted them white and staked them down. And so anyway, so we've got a whole little league field at
That's
home.
why
and
they
so
don't have
he's-
practice, because it's an insurance liability.
Yeah,
What
no,
it
that's
is.
yeah, that's
It's like
exactly
Logan's
right. Because
house, you
there
know
is some,
it is.
there is a
Get
little
tough
bit
or
of
die.
there's a little bit of this, you know, in the field. There's a little bit of up and
wave.
down. There's some like yeah, they were
Some
playing at Cannon's birthday
rusted out
party this past
cars.
weekend, and this one kid that came over, he was running to first, and he stubbed his toe on the little mound that's there on, and he scorpioned and slid on his face for like a solid 5 feet. It was pretty horrible. I did laugh, but it was it was pretty. It was a gnarly scorpion, and so anyway, so yes, it's definitely a liability issue to have practice at our house for sure, but we can do it. But yeah, Kanan loves it, and I enjoy it. I mean, I just hit grounders to him, and he's practicing his batting and stuff, and it's pretty fun because I don't have any. I didn't play, and I don't watch baseball, and I've never worked with any baseball athletes, and it's been really fun to see, even at like 5, like how can I get Conley, for example, like she's one of the faster kids on her team. I'm like, okay, how can I get her faster? Right? Like, well, she just needs to run more. Like we need to do some more sprinting. She's like strong for age with gymnastics. I think has really done some favors for her and her body awareness and her ability to do things. Like she's doing a great job. But that's why I put the field in. Like, and I think that I put the bases in. They're like 60 feet. Well, at this league that they're playing in, they're actually at 50 feet. I'm like, that's perfect. They're going to get used to running a little bit farther than they would at an actual game. But they just need to sprint more, you know, and get faster, and teaching them a little bit of sprint mechanics and in a fun way, you know, like, and playing some
I was gonna
games.
say,
and
how are you
helping 'em-
doing that? How are you making
Well,
it
I just
fun?
really-
Because I feel like it turned into work quickly.
It can definitely turn into work very, 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 very easily. And so they have to ask me. Number one, I don't like, hey, we're going to go play ball. They have to come to me and say, hey, Dad, could we play ball? And so if they ask, that's the way I've approached the sheep riding. And we'll go through months where we went from last May until 2 months ago. He didn't touch the sheep. And we talked about that on here. And then all of a sudden he got right back in it, and is loving it. But so same thing with the ball. They have to ask me. And if they ask me, then when I'm like, yeah, let's go play ball, and I'll give them some pointers or some tips and let them try it out. And then I might do something intentional. For the most part, it's just having fun. And I try to slip some intentional stuff in, like, hey, we're going to practice running the bases. And do you want me to help you get to first base faster? they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, here's how we get our start. You're starting completely standing up. Sure, you've got the bat in your hand. You're going to swing and drop the bat. But in order for you to accelerate to get there faster, you've got to get low to start and you got to lean forward. And so just showing them some of that stuff. And then they obviously they're done with that in 5 minutes. They've moved on or less, which is fine. And then I just let them move on. But we had that one moment where I like try to give them something intentional that will help them. And then I'll remind them of that thing the next time we play and they're running to first base. Like, hey, remember, we want to try to get low and lean forward so we can accelerate faster. Oh, yeah. And so that's how I've approached it. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's how I've approached it.
I found this guy on Instagram the other day that you'll really appreciate and kind of geek out, especially as you head into this. But he's like he is like for youth baseball what we have been for rodeo, kind of, so to speak, but more on like the skill development side. And so he's got like tons and tons of like really good fundamental drills that like I've completely overlooked. Nobody. Are
you going to give me a name, or are you just going to keep teasing me? Tell me who it is so I can follow them.
At Coach Ballgame.
At Coach Ballgame.
His name's James Lowe. But yeah, you'll really like.
I can't take it anymore.
No, you can't. You're telling me all the good things. Okay, yeah.
At Coach Ballgame.
Got him. Well, that's really what it is at that age, right? It's just skill development is what's going to set them apart and help them. You know, I noticed some of the kids that have been playing, they're in Conley's age group. So, you know, like 7, 8, 9-year-olds, and they've played since they were 5. And a lot of them, like, I mean, their ability, I mean, they know automatically if this one kid I'm watching, he's by first base, he catches a grounder. There's nobody running to first base, the coach, but he automatically just goes and steps on first base with the ball, right? Like, he just like it's something he's played before, and he knows like in a game situation I would step in. He's like 8 years old, and so much of it at this age is really just that skill development and repetition and knowing what to do. We're not going to make 7-year-old monsters in the weight room, nor should we. They just need to sprint and they need to jump and run and practice. You can help them with swing mechanics, I'm sure. And some of those kind of things, to help them be more efficient. But I feel like that goes for rodeo too. These 7-year-olds, they just need balance and proprioception and barrel work and some of those drills where they're really just honing in on that skill as opposed to trying to develop some sort of wicked core. Or
in order to develop your skill in a specific sport, it's beneficial to develop skills in other sports as well. Because
and I think that
especially
keeps it fun
at that age,
too, because you don't want to get repetitive, right? We talk about sport specialization in young kids, and that's just a big no-no. We do not want to do that. We want to get lots of experiences, lots of variety of activity, like what Paul just said. It's going to make them better at everything they do. The thing there at that age is just developing those basic movement patterns, that balance, that coordination, and like. If you keep, just like for the baseball example, the kid that's 8 and goes and touches the base, he's been playing since he's 5, so that's 3 years. Well, it's like 3 years of he just knows the rules, right? So if you like know the rules and know how to play and are a kid that has experience in like gymnastics or whatever else, you're probably gonna be pretty dang good at your age, especially at that age group in whatever you do. And so it just continues and it sets them up for success there. So they're getting a positive experience because they're doing pretty well. They're learning. They might not be great in the beginning, but at the end of the season, they're like, heck yeah, that was awesome. That was fun. And they got better at it, which then they're going to go to riding sheep, a couple months later, and they'll probably be better at that. Just from the things they learned from baseball. So it's cool. It's really cool.
We're already seeing a transition there. Like, and I can't say scientifically that they're definitely correlated, but I do think we've been riding some sheep at the house, and the day before his birthday party, Friday, the way that the chute is set up, the sheep they want to go back in their pen, and they have to go down about 40 feet and they make a big circle and they come around. So they just make a big U, and then they'll go stand at their gate, right? Because they want to go back in their pen. And that's the way it's been set up. I don't have the arena set up. And so most times when they make that turn, it's not a tight turn. When they make that turn, it's to the left. He's a right-hander, and he just rolls over and rounds off. And the other day on Friday, man drove out over the front, and like he rode that sucker for probably 30 seconds until it stopped. And then he just picked up his leg and stepped off. And I can't help but think that we hadn't bucked sheep in like 3 weeks, and instead we've been playing ball. And some of the coordination and the proprioception stuff that we're doing with ball playing, and him just getting a break from it and actually wanting to ride sheep, it not feeling like he needed to, and it transferred to him actually doing really well with it. So hopefully that's a trend that we'll see. I think it's a trend that we'll see across a lot of his sports that, that they play as they grow up.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. It really is. I'm going to be taking notes and asking many questions when I get to this point. You guys will have a whole book on fucking book written for me over there, so it'll be good for me.
We don't know the right way, but we definitely know the wrong way.
We know the wrong ways. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It'll be like, here's some things that have worked, and it'll be like one page, and then you'll have be like, here's some things that don't work, and it's 350 pages. Whatever you do, don't do this.
Whatever you do.
Whatever you do.
Ask me how I do.
As you all know, we are always rocking Hui. Hui has the best gear because it's tough, it's durable, it withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping, you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. The tincture, take 2 full drops underneath the tongue right before bed, and my HRV and recovery scores have never been higher. And not to mention the warming cream, y'all. I swear by this stuff. It works immediately. 10 plus years of rodeo experience and working out for another 10 plus years pretty intensely. I come across some aches and pains. And so that warming lotion is my go-to to get rid of those and to get rid of it quickly. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk at discount.
Today we're going to talk about
That's funny.
Reassessing goals. I think this is actually a really good lead-in because we kind of just talking about kids and training and how you set that up to be fun, and continue to do that. Like, just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you shouldn't still have fun with your goals, with your training, with what you're doing. But also, we just watched Red Bluff this weekend. I don't know if you guys got to tune in at all to that, but for me, it's a landmarker, it's a point in the year that says, hey, we're getting closer to the real deal, to full season here, and we need to start looking at where are we on our goals? Are we month 4? So we're a third of the way through this thing, through the year. Like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Like, it went by quick, but that being said, it's really easy to set those goals in January and not tune back into them. But this is, hey, first third of the year's up. We need to see where we're at. Are we still on track with this? Do we need to reassess, reevaluate, whatever it is? But we're going to jump into that. But I want to talk about Red Bluff for a second because there was some cool stuff that went down at the rodeo. First, I'm always going to start with the bareback riding, naturally. But RC got on Virgil. He's been wanting to draw that horse forever. Did you just see it, Logan? Did you see the ride at all?
No, I saw Instagram? The tail end because Jaco Roper posted a video of Shane O'Connell throwing Cashton Ford's hat. And so it showed like the last 3 rides. And then there's Shane on the back of the bucket chutes with no shirt on. He just rips some kid's hat off and throws it in the arena. And Jaco posted it and he was like, when in doubt, throw somebody else's hat. And
that's so great.
But it looked sick.
I'm glad to see Cashton getting thrown into the mix right away.
Yeah.
Dude, sure. Cashton, I think he won the wild ride.
Yeah, I think he did too.
He did, yeah. I seen him with a saddle and and something else he shouldn't have had for his age. But we'll go away from that. But RC is 92.5, set the arena record at his hometown rodeo. It was, I don't know if a lot of people though I don't know RC and his history, but RC's mom passed away of breast cancer a few years ago, and he has, ever since she got diagnosed, it's been a huge mission of his to raise awareness to support his mom. And so it was Pink Day, and he had his chaps on that he had made for in his vest, and he's 92.5, sets the arena record, wins Red Bluff. Oh, it was rank, dude. I had
What a
some
day.
tears. I texted him. I was
Yeah,
like,
I bet.
damn you. I just
Yeah.
cried. He's like, dude, I was
Yeah.
trying. I had to choke it back the whole time. He goes, "Ugh," but it was so, man, that's what fires me up about rodeo, seeing things like that.
That's so cool.
Stetson Jorgenson wins the steer wrestling. That dude fires me up. So I've been working with Stetson the last few years, and this is a cool story because pretty sure he won a world title, hired me, made the NFR, fixing to win another world title, and misses his last steer in the 10th round for it. The following year, and this happens to, it's like, like kind of that sophomore slump, that second year slump after making that finals and having a really good experience. We tend to sometimes not do so well if we don't manage our mental state well. We don't continue to work. It gets to a point sometimes where I think guys think that, oh, I'm a champ, I'm world champ, it's going to happen again. There's a lot of things that got to add up still to make that happen. And he had a year he didn't make it. And I know it was hard, but instead of getting sour, the dude just doubled down on his work ethic and not missing and getting after it. And he's been unstoppable this winter. It's been so cool to see because things like that can make or break a guy. And you either do what he did, double down and get tough and make it happen, or you quit. And so to see him freaking, dude, getting after it, doesn't miss a training day, warms up before he gets on, like goes and competes. And you can just see it when he's walking in the box. He's confident. He's ready to roll. And I think he won by over a second on the average, which is steer wrestling.
Yeah,
that's
19. Yeah, he was 19-1 on forehead, and the next closest guy was 20. Which 19 on 4? That's doing it.
Doing it. That's under 5 around. That's under 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Like, consistency, baby.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I had one of my guys set the arena record in the second round, was 3.5 and just freaking body slams this thing.
Yes.
It was so sick. It fired me up. A young guy, and he didn't place in the average, so I guess he had some trouble in one of the other rounds. But he, he win that second round, and it was man, that video. Like, there's nothing more entertaining than a smooth, powerful bulldogging run, like, man, it is fun.
I think
to
it
watch.
lets the air out of the crowd a little bit even too. Like when it hits, everyone's like, "Ooh!" Like, "Whoa, that was fast."
That's exactly right.
Damn.
That's exactly right.
You have no other option but to get on your feet and start cheering.
Yeah, so cool.
And then I see Cooper James had a good week too in the bull riding.
Yeah, he let's see here. Where did he place? He ended up 4th. He was 82.
Where's Chase Dowtree was right there too.
Chase was 5th with an 81.5.
Who won?
Chase Weimer, little Chase Weimer won it.
Dude, yes, I saw that. It was rank. That's his hometown rodeo too.
He was like 87 in the first or second perf or something.
Yeah,
he made
87
it
points.
a black and white paintball. I don't know what it's called.
Bad Habits, they called it.
Great ride.
Flying U's Bad Habits. That was awesome. Yeah, Cooper's been good, man. It's been fun to watch him and walk through somebody rodeoing really hard that actually is extremely consistent on their training for a change. So I've had some guys that have rodeoed pretty hard and made the finals and done some stuff that have been really inconsistent. And Cooper's not that kind of guy. He texts me and calls me every week. We're talking about his rodeo schedule and how his body's feeling and what's going on. So it's been so much fun to like walk through, he texted me yesterday morning and I had some stuff, just a little bit of power stuff for him. He's headed to maybe Clovis and a few other things this week. And so he's got a big week of rodeo, but we had Monday and Tuesdays at Lefty's house. There's equipment there we can train. And so I had him doing a little bit of power stuff on Monday. He texted me Monday morning and he's like, dude, I am wrecked. I am so sore today. What can I, should I go on with our workout? And so I edited it a little bit so we can still work on the power development. I got rid of the majority of the volume. It was just real short volume. We got another good training day in today. So it's been fun to like communicate, which is a revolutionary idea for those out there that have a coach that you don't communicate with. You should start. It's been really fun to communicate and be able to walk through what training looks like and he's just picking up steam, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's stronger now than he was when we were lifting every week.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to maintain strength and still continue to build that some. He's way more powerful in his lower body. Like, it's just all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together
Mm-hmm.
for him. And it's so much fun to see that.
That's pretty cool, man. Because that's really for me, when you think about hiring a coach, that reason right there is the most bang for the buck when you ask me. Like, having someone that you can communicate with, because without you, he's just going on with a workout on an app, and he's like, I'm wrecked, but that's what's there. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Because that's how we were programmed. Like, we're just going to go do the work usually. And then it's usually to our own detriment because we're doing too much. So to be able to call you and readjust that and play it day by day based off of his schedule, it's priceless, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It is. Let's dive into reevaluating these goals for rodeo athletes. Like I said, we're a third of the way through the year. We all set these goals in the beginning of the year, but those are important, but not as important as having those check marks, those levels that you're beating to get to those goals, right? And around this time of the year is a really good check-in time to see hey, are we on track for what we set up for ourselves, or are we coming up a little short? And why is that happening? It could be a million reasons, but some of those reasons might be pointing to the guy or girl in the mirror, and you might just been not putting the work in as well. So either way, these are great times to check in with yourself, with, maybe just some bad luck that happened. Like, who knows? But it's a good place to be. And I think it's so important for your confidence too, to check in on these things, to know that you're on the right path. Because 12 months is a long time to not see any kind of end result, right? So you set a goal in January and then you see it in December. There's a lot of time to forget about what the actual goal was, why you're doing it, all of it. I've done that a million times in my past. I've set goals in January and December. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I set some goals. What were they? I look back, I'm like, whoa, forgot about those in about 2 weeks,
Yeah.
So reflecting on past performance and goals is going to be my first thing I'm going to look at, and comparing like where I am from this year to last year. If I'm a rodeo athlete, my goal is to make the NFR or make the circuit finals or whatever. And I'm going to look at, in comparison, last year to this year, in my first third of the year, what were my earnings? Where was I at? And then the second thing I'm going to look at are, what can I improve? How can I improve what I'm doing now? But also, is that lining up with what I set this year? Right. So if your goal is to make the finals, you're going to need $150,000 to make the finals. Break that down by 3. You need a minimum of $50,000 ish to stay on track. And that's the weird thing. It could change, right? You could go out that last third of the year and make $100,000. It just, things can happen, but at least knowing where you are is important. So I think reflecting on those past performances and checking in to see with where you are, and it is a really important thing.
Yeah, I think you also, part of that is establishing some metrics, right? To be able to analyze with, and be able to, you have to have something. If you want to, you can't change what you can't measure, I guess is what I'm saying. And so we need to be able to have these like measurable things. And there's so many outside factors that can influence earnings, whether it be the draw or the judges or whatever. Like, there's just so many things, injury. There's just so many things that can impact. And maybe you're not where you want to be in your high school rodeo season or in your pro rodeo season or wherever you're at right now, but being able to have metrics that you are in control of. And so like I naturally gravitate, and Paul might correct me here, but like I naturally gravitate, my mind thinks about like a riding percentage for bull riders, right? Like, what's your riding percentage this year in comparison with last year? And if it's lower, why is it lower? What are the things you have to be able to measure it, right? Like maybe for bucking horse riders, it's looking at the judges sheets and going on stock stats and looking at like, why am I consistently being marked a 19 when last year I was being marked a 20, or last year I was being marked a 17, or whatever that number is. What's your average spur ride, and how do I increase that? Why is it lower, or why is it, what am I doing that's right? What do I need to, we have to be able to measure to be able to change. So have those metrics that you're pretty much in control of, that you can analyze your performance with to move forward, I think is very important.
It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a new way here recently to set goals, and maybe it's not new, but it's new to me, and it's something that I've never done before because I'm probably fall in the category of most people. Like January 1, I set my goals, and I might set some benchmarks or something, but I'm really not looking at that end goal again until the end of the year, and it's like, oh crap, came up just short of my goal again this year. So what this strategy looks like is you set out your annual goal like you would normally, like, so here's my 1 year goal, and then you set your quarter one goal, which is nothing new. Like, we've been doing that, we talk about it on here all the time, like set your quarter one goal, set a quarter two goal, whatever. But then at the end of quarter one, this strategy, this is where it was different. At the end of quarter one, you set a new year goal for the next 12 months. So every 4 months, you're kind of reevaluating your end goal and figuring out where you're at. Are you short? Is it time to set a new one? Like, did you like blow past your goal already? And then you just set a new quarter one goal for the next quarter. So like, if basically each 4 months, you're just starting a new annual goal. And I thought that was interesting because it never works out exactly how we want it to. Like, we're never going to be exactly on track.
So you're breaking down your
if we are,
into 4 months. Is that what you're saying?
Not really. So you're breaking down you're setting an annual goal, and then you set a goal. So like, okay, if this is my annual goal, this is what I need to have done by Q1, the end of Q1.
Okay, so let's just say my goal is to make $1 million by the end of the year. So by Q1, I need to have $250,000.
Yep. And then so Q1 ends, and you say, okay, now it's time to reevaluate. Now you set a new 12-month goal. So even though there's 9 months left in the year, you're setting a new 12-month. Yeah. So like, where do you want to be at now this time next year? Do we expand the goal? Do we lower the goal? And then you say like, hey, you know what? I've already made $500,000 in Q1.
Yeah,
I should try and make $2 million this year. And then so you can bump it up.
Okay.
Or, say like, oh, I only made $100,000. I don't think $1 million is going to happen for me this year. I need to set more realistic goals and stick back to reevaluate my system for this next quarter to make sure that I am actually going to be on track.
Yeah, I dig that.
So I just kind of stumbled on that the other day, and I thought that was kind of interesting and might be something that I try to apply here.
I like that a lot. I do. It just makes it, having room to reevaluate is really important, because some things, especially as a rodeo athlete, y'all, shit's not going to go right every now and then. And man, I'll even use my brother as an example. And this is a great way, like a good example, because there's a lot of things, like Logan was saying, that the judges, the horses, the stock, the injuries, like whatever it is, there's things that could happen you don't get to control. But if you get to check in with yourself and are you controlling or doing those things you can control, then the answer is to keep going, because those things will work out eventually in the arena. Like, you will draw the right horse. You will, as long as you will be healthy, as long as you are putting in the work, physically preparing yourself. Like, there's things that, like I said, you have to control. If you're doing all those things and it's still not going great, sometimes it's just the fact that you just got to go a couple more times for it to go well. But Richie last year wasn't even in the top 50 by July. And it was just one of those things. He's just drawing terribly, couldn't get on a good horse. July through September, he moved up. He won like $80,000. But it was those things. He was doing the things he could control, knowing that, hey, if I stay true to this, it's going to work out. I just got to keep doing it. I got to keep hammering. And like, that's the same thing in any event in rodeo, is like, we want to make it very complicated for the most part. There's these little things we want to fix. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's doing the basics and doing them consistently and well, whatever it is, mentally, physically, all of it. You've got to stay on top of those things. So when you can look at these goals and look back and say, hey, I'm not where I should be in quarter one compared to my year end. What's going on? And then, like you said, you can look back at the stock sheets. You can look back at, your training schedule. You can look at your mental prep schedule. Like, are you doing these things? And if yes, cool. Then we just need to keep doing what we're doing. But if not, time to reevaluate and do some new shit.
Yeah, I think it's important to note too that, you know, all of those things, like we said, you can't change it if you can't measure it. So all of these things that you guys have talked about, they're all dependent on the fact that we're setting SMART goals,
Yes, how
right?
you
They're
set
all
them,
dependent
exactly.
on the
Yep.
on the fact that you're setting specific goals. That you could never understand what you needed to do in the first quarter if your goal was just make the NFR, or if it's just make the high school finals. That's not specific enough. So SMART goals, we've talked about them a lot. There's a lot of we have a lot of podcasts on goal setting, but just kind of as a refresher, it's going to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and
Mhm.
time bound. That's the definition of SMART goal setting. And so do you have to make sure that you have some specific goal, right? Like if you're trying to make
Hey,
the finals,
let's run
what is
through it.
that?
Yeah.
You want to be top 5, right? Like if you want to be specific, then top 5, who do they take to the NFR? The top 15. Well, if your specific goal for the year is top 5, guess what? You're going to bypass and blow by that just make the NFR goal that you initially had. So specific. We also need to make it measurable. It has to be something that you can tangibly measure. It's not just like, I want to get bigger this year. Like, well, how much do you want to weigh, right? Like if you're taking measurements, what specifically are you trying to, I want to ride better this year. That doesn't work. That's not
So
measurable. We need to measure. Go
with
ahead.
what you just said with making the NFR is, you know, most everyone's goal, that's not specific enough. Now you said don't just make the NFR, because if you're shooting for making the NFR, that's 15 holes. You're shooting for that 15th hole. That's the low end. Like you're not setting yourself up to win a world title. You're setting yourself up to make the NFR, and that's it. So you change it to specifically, I'm going to be the top 5 for our case bareback rider in the world come the year end of the year end. That makes the year I'm making the NFR for sure, and I'm setting myself up to potentially win a world title right there. How do you make that measurable? So you're talking about like the thing you can measure there. Is it the money that you have to win, like for that goal specifically, or what would you measure?
I think that, like, obviously that goal is going to be based off of earnings. And so you cannot completely dismiss, even though there's a lot of earnings that are not within your control, that you can't completely dismiss the earnings portion of that. Because if you're never analyzing and measuring the earnings portion, you're never going to know if you're on track. And so I would say that I would measure that in 2 ways. The first and the most tangible, probably the way that most people measure, is off of earnings. Where am I at quarter 1? Like Paul said earlier, if I know that this is how much I need, based on the last few years of standings to be in the top 5, where am I at the end of quarter 1? But the second thing that I would measure is I would measure your performance. I would look at how are you riding, because that is within your control. Sure, you've drawn some stuff that's less desirable. Sure, maybe there's that one judge that, you know, doesn't want to shake your hand or talk to you, and you've seen him more than you usually do. Like, but at the end of the day, those things, for the most part, by and large, your riding is within your control. And so there needs to be something measurable that you can actually change. You can't wish your way into more earnings. You can practice differently. You can work on your mechanics, which if you, as Richie has done, consistently do it again and again, it will yield itself in the earnings that you're looking for.
Yep. And that's just so important, man, to remember that key is just continue to do those things, because the earnings will come if you do. It's when you stop or start squirreling, like, oh, I'm going to do this, that. No, it's just going to implode like it always. We're only saying that based off experience. So
yes,
full on experience here. I'm not just preaching that and not knowing. That's something I've done my entire life. Yeah, but also I think
that goes into the what not to do book.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
what about how many
the next
rodeos
thing
you
is
go
it
to?
needs to be a tank.
Like, could you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could do that.
Making sure you're going to enough rodeos too, because I know that it's like, hey, I didn't win what I was supposed to win in quarter 1. Well, I only went to 7 rodeos. Okay, well, you know, we've got 100 to work with through the year, so we start thinking about the year in thirds. It's like that first part of the year, maybe 20 or 30 rodeos. That leaves you 80 or 70 for the last 2/3, and that's when you're going to need them, right? So competition volume's a little bit lower in the beginning, but you still need to be going to enough rodeos to make that money. And who knows, you could go to a Denver, you could go to Houston, and bam, you hit it in one lick what you need to make. Who knows? But that's cool, because that now we get to reevaluate and say, hey, I want to make 2 million instead of 1 million this year, like we were talking about with Paul when I gave him my goal. But yeah, I think that could be another measurable thing.
And that's something that Josh Frosch actually used.
Frosch?
So his Frosch, Frost. Words are hard this morning. Josh Frost he said that, like, he went his first year and kind of realized where he was, which was far outside the NFR, and was like, oh crap, like I'm not riding near as many bulls as these other guys are. Like, if I'm gonna be able to win this much money, I got to go to more rodeos. And so, over the last 3 years, he's probably gotten on as many, if not more, bulls than anybody else on the planet, just because he realized this is what I'm weak at. Here's how I can control and what I can do to overcome it. And then so last year he had 165 outs on stock stats. Obviously, like, that's going between PBR and rodeoing, but like if he understood where he was, he evaluated, and he figured out the steps that he needed to do to actually reach the end goal without playing victim to whatever his weakness was. He turned his weakness into his strength, basically.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, and the other thing that I think that's important is if you know that it takes, say, we use the example of 150,000. So you want to make 150,000 and you're going to go to 100 rodeos, say, just to keep things even, then you need to win $1,500 a rodeo on average to be able to make it. Well, if you know in quarter one, you're only going to go to 20 rodeos, right? So then the goal for quarter one would actually be 30,000. It wouldn't necessarily be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where you would just break it down in an attainable way, looking at based on average rodeo, like that 150,000 over 100 rodeos, only $1,500 every time you nod your head. There's going to be quite a few times where you don't win a dime. And there's going to be quite a few times where you win $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So can we just stay on track that way? And I think that's super important. And the rodeo count can also go the other way. I've seen a lot of guys, they're knocking on the door of the NFR, and we get to August and they're out of rodeos because they went to 50 rodeos before the summer ever got there. You know what I'm saying? They rodeo their tail off in the fall, and it looks good to have your name up in lights as number one in the world in April, but it don't matter in April. It matters in October, and so making sure that you pace yourself on your rodeos, and that whole measurable thing here is like, it doesn't matter if you hit your numbers, that's great, but you went to 50 rodeos before May, you're probably in trouble, and you're probably not going to hit that end goal where you wanted to be because you're going to run out of rodeos.
Absolutely. What did we just cover? What letter? I've lost. Smart.
Oh, measurable. Sorry. No, we were just finishing up measurable.
Yeah, I about pissed my pants, so I had to jump off there for a second and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm fighting it myself. I'm gonna keep fighting the good fight. I think I can make it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was gonna have a master disaster here. I was just thought about that literally when I ran off. I was like, on Rogan, I listen to Rogan all the time, and like legit in the middle, there's only two of them. There's no co-host, so he's like, I got to piss. We got to take a break, bro. Like, I was like, oh, I got Paul and Logan. They just keep it rolling. This is the best.
Just keep it rolling. Yeah.
So measurable, attainable is next, right? Is that something that is actually in your grasp? If you are a guy that is, or girl, that's just entering professional rodeo or any kind of rodeo, and your experience level is, less than 1 to 2 years in the sport, making the NFR is probably not your best goal for this year, because it's not a very attainable goal. Unless you were just the freaky nature. I'm not saying you aren't. You might be. I don't know. You're out there somewhere. But most of us, that's not attainable, and that's just kind of setting ourselves up for failure. So the attainable part, I think, is really, really important in this process because it makes you be real with yourself. Where are we really? Makes you look in the mirror and say, is this where I'm at, or am I not going to make it? And like I said, making the NFR your first year, probably not going to happen. So what is a good goal? Making the circuit finals is a great goal. Making the permit challenge is a great goal. They have the rookie. They have the
rookie roundup.
Rookie roundup.
Yeah.
So the permit
Rookie
challenge is in
week,
Vegas, or the rookie roundups in Waco. I'm sorry, Fort Worth. But there's so many opportunities for you guys that are up and coming in the sport, just getting your feet wet in it, to make a name for yourself. And those events right there is where that's going to happen. Yeah. And it's easy to see. Yeah. Keenan Hayes won the rookie roundup, won the permit, won the world. Literally, I think he did that back to back to back. So
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no, it's not like a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just by happenstance. It's that those people are
Not a coincidence.
Yes, it's not a
Yep.
coincidence that he won the world now
Yep.
looking back at his previous 3 years where he dominated the permits, he dominated the rookies. Go ahead.
Yeah, that goes to your earlier point is like, like you said, like, oh, if you've only been rodeo in a couple of years, like, making the NFR is probably not your thing. But in Keenan's case, like he had the data to back it up. Like he broke the rookie earnings the year before. He won the permit challenge the year before. He probably broke the permit standings too, I think. Didn't he? Didn't he win like $100,000 or something on his permit?
Unreal.
Like,
He would have made the
blew it out of
NFR
the
that
water.
year.
Yeah.
But again, his main goal, he wanted to win the rookie of the year. And so this is a huge businessman decision on his part. Rocker would have been in the same rookie class as him if he would have declared that year. He knew that those two would have been neck and neck and that it would have been a dogfight for that, right? And so he made a businessman decision. I'm going to hang out on my permit for one more year, get some more experience. I'm still able to go win the money I can, still able to make a great living, and I'm still getting my name out there to all the judges. But I'm just going to hold off because I know I want to go dominate that rookie. And not only he won the rookie of the year and won the world and broke the regular season earning records ever, like huge year. I think that right there shows so much about his maturity as an athlete and as a business person, because guys his age wouldn't do that. They would go gung ho and they'd go all in, and I don't care. But he has a long goal in mind, I think. And I haven't even ever sat down and chat with him. His actions to me show that he wants to be around for a long time. He has big vision of dominating bareback riding in professional rodeo for a while. So it's pretty cool to see him all set that up, but it's got to be relevant, right? And for him, it was relevant. For others, it may be relevant as well. But for others, we might need to tune it down a step to make it relevant for ourselves, right? So wherever you are in your walk with rodeo, be real, because that right there is how you start setting your goals. Relevant.
Timely. Time bound.
Yep. Got to have a time, right?
It's got to have a timeline. Otherwise, you'll just never know if you made it or not. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to have something pushing you.
Well, and rodeo makes that easy on us because we have a defined season.
Exactly
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of. But yeah, it's a gray area on the defined season part. But yeah, we do have a season. It, like we were just talking about, beginning of the year to end of the year. If you're going to 50 rodeos before April, you're in a bind, right? But you need to I need to, if I want to make the NFR, if I want to make $150,000 and be top 5 in the world, you need to do that by September 31st of that year, right? That's your end date. So now we start looking at all the check-in points. You need to hit this amount of money by this time roughly, or go to this amount of rodeos. They're all timely. All those little checkpoints are timely because you need to have, by April, you need to have probably been to at least 15 rodeos and won 10 grand, 20 grand. I don't know. That's probably really low. But then next season here, we're going from April to, let's say, June. You probably need to go to 30 rodeos in those 2 months. You're going a lot more. And now we hit July through September, and you're going to 5 or 6 a week. And you just have those numbers, and you need to have check-in points with those, because you either won the money in that time or went to that amount of rodeos in that time, or you didn't. And so then we need to reevaluate and reassess after that, right? So make them smart, make them as specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely as you can. That is going to make your goal setting process pay off 100-fold more for you than just writing a goal for the end of the year and checking in December on it.
Yeah, because then you have a system. You have a structured system. You have to have a system. Just willy-nilly, like it's the same way with training. Going in the gym, you can't just go in the gym and do what feels good.
It's
anything, you have to have a structured process.
You learn how to set goals for life. It doesn't matter if it's just rodeo, business, relationships, sports, like whatever it is. Having the system is huge when it comes to goal attainment. You've got to have a detailed action plan outlining each of your steps to reach those goals and prioritize them based off of their importance, how they impact your performance. And I think we've talked about this a lot, but incorporating those regular checkpoints. You've got to check in and track your progress, or else you're just a leaf in the wind. We'll see where we get blown to at the end of the year. Probably won't be where you'd planned on being. Promise you. What else you guys got?
Success
Anything
does
else?
not happen on accident.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
no,
None of it's a coincidence, right?
Yep.
None of it. And that's what people don't see is all the hard work most of these guys that look like it's a coincidence that's happened to have put in, you know, behind the scenes that aren't sharing. Like, again, Stetson Jorgenson, really, really good example. He doesn't share what he's doing on Instagram. Should. Wish he would. But, like, no one sees what he went through this last year, dude. And I think if he actually talked about it, there'd be so many people that could relate. Like, how do you go in the NFR, winning a world, getting close to winning a world, and then having to go to drive a truck for a month to make a living because that's just where you're at. That is I've been there, not like that level, but like had to go work when you were rodeoing, and it is the shittiest thing ever. But damn, it'll make you realize that, I do need to change some things. I don't want to be doing this the rest of my life. Like, I need to reevaluate where I am, my goals, what I'm doing, my actions, all of it. And it either makes you great or makes you bitter. And I think that part of that's just your mindset. And the bitterness comes from not reaching goals a lot of the times, feeling like you're doing everything and not getting anywhere, right? And I think just a lot of the people are not setting them up like this, not having the systematic approach to setting a smart goal, which is, it's huge for life, not just rodeo.
Yep.
You guys got anything else to wrap this bad boy up?
I think we just nailed it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give a huge shout out to Power Pro CBD. I traveled a bunch last week. My neck kills me when I travel. I think it's because I'm looking down like that, and probably I'm just stressed holding my traps all the time. But that CBD cream is a absolute game changer for my neck, my back, everything. Put that on, and it is no pain. It's rank, dude. Kayla texted me. She was having a really bad back. Kayla works for us, for all of y'all that don't know. She's like the glue that holds all of us together. But she's very busy, and she was having some back problems. And I was like, you need to try this cream. She texted me, and she's like, how have I not heard of this before? This is the best thing ever. Literally put it on, in less than 2 minutes later, I feel great. So y'all check out Power Pro CBD, pwrpro.com. You can use our discount code. Champion Living it's a good discount at checkout. So check them out. Use our discount code, and hopefully it'll help you guys with your recovery and anything else you're dealing with. Guys, if you have any questions, all of you listeners, or topic ideas, we would love to hear about them. Shoot us messages on Instagram. I know you can message us through the website as well. Yeah, we just talked about, setting goals. All of these things can seem a little overwhelming at times. And hiring a coach, getting someone on your side is the number one recommendation I can make to making it less overwhelming and getting on the right track if you're not having success by yourself. A consultation with us is free. Absolutely free. All we want to do is answer questions, help you figure out what your best track is. And like I've said a million times, even if it's not us, we're going to give you a recommendation who we think is the best person that can help you in the best way that we can help you. And it costs you nothing. So the way you do that is just go to a website, www.championlivingfitness.com. Click the athlete sign up form, fill out the form. It gives us a little information about you, what your goals are, what your interests are. And we just set up a call based off of your schedule when you're free and chat about all the options and answer all of your questions. Like I said, it's free. You're missing, why not? Why not? Reach out to us. We're here to help. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later. You can fuel your body with some of the highest quality protein from Colorado craft beef. Look, the cattle, they're raised well. They're raised with care, crafted with passion, and again, packed with protein. It's the perfect choice for athletes like us. So go check them out. ColoradoCraftBeef.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word. Going to save you some money on that next beef order.